Hi, welcome to Her Flow with Chloe, where we have lovely, wonderful sunny weather again. I'm hoping to do some garden yoga very shortly. As it's a shiny day, I've gone back for a shiny deck. I'm going to pull some spring weight. We are still in spring, and I'm just feeling the glitteriness of these cards today. Sparkles. We've got that full moon. Ooh, full moon coming up on Monday in Scorpio. There's a lot occurring in the heavens. We are soon. I can't remember when it is. Ooh. And we have a card. We have a very lovely card. Shiny, shiny, sparkle, sparkle. It is the Nine of Pentacles, which is a very grounded, feminine, earthy card. What I was going to say is we have Tortofino. At some point we have Mercury. I want that one. It's the Ten of Swords. Maybe I don't want that one. It's a lovely depiction though, right? It is 10 brutal swords and a castle coming down, signifying an end. But it's not as brutal as the usual swords in the back of a corpse. And yeah, what I was going to say is at some point we've got Mercury opposing Pluto in Aquarius, causing some sort of opposition there, which can be very interesting. And Pluto in retrograde to add to that. So tracing back where it's already been, and Mercury, the planet of communication, having some stuff to say about it. We also have later in the month Mercury moving into Taurus, which will give us this like slower, steadier pace where we may not want to air our thoughts so much, where we will want to be a bit more patient and hold back a little more in our communication and be more of a watchful, waitful, not in an anxious way, like in a calm, collected way, like gathering our thoughts before we say anything and watching what's going on and being having more of an assessment of what's going on before we open the gob. So slowing down, stabilizing our mercurialness. We have also the Two of Pentacles. So it's in the Rider-Waite. This is the spring weight where they've adapted the Rider-Waite, but they use like the classical weight poses and characters generally with like modified imagery. And it's always represented by a juggler, and it's sort of juggling this infinity loop. It's juggling this energy round and round, like adding this kind of heat, this movement to it, but it is pentacles. So it's balancing things out and creating this to and fro, back and forth kind of energy, but in this stable way, which are our earth sign, our groundedness, and this sort of juggling tricksteriness. It's quite mercurial. And then we get the King of Wands, so some fiery energy. We do still have a lot of things in Aries at the moment. Neptune's there, Venus is there, Mercury's still there at the moment, but it's moving. Saturn at some point is going to move there. I don't think it's this month. I can't quite remember. There's so much going on. It has been so long that it's just like really hard to maintain it all in the brain. Yeah, so we have all this kind of fruitful, earthy, bountiful, plentiful. I'm in my vineyard. Everything's growing spectacularly. I've got my bird. My bird resting on my hand, you know, it's just perched calmly upon me. Everything is chill, 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 chill. And I've got all my pentacles. I'm feeling very wealthy, very abundant. So lovely, very earthy, very feminine, plentiful vibes. But we have this ending card with the 10 of Swords. I am going to check, I'm going to pause and I'm going to check when Saturn moves into Aries. Okay, so using the trusty moon diary, Astro-Cal Moon Diary 2025. I've bought one every year for God knows how many years now. But we do have Saturn moving into Aries at 4:30 in the morning on the 25th of May. So sooner than I thought. So yeah, I'm getting weird Saturn vibes. Don't know why, because actually the 10 of Swords is Sun in Gemini. Me. I'm 10 Swords. What a frightening card to be. But yeah, it's that like cutting things off, cutting things away, and freeing yourself. Knowing what you need to let go of. But also the Sun moves into Gemini on the 20th, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4.5, 5 days later, once the Sun moves into Gemini, represented by that card, Saturn moves into Aries. So it's the end of its time. It must be in the very final degrees of Pisces, signifying an ending, a closure of its time in that sign, which is already a sign that is symbolic of endings, is Pisces being the last sign in the zodiac wheel. And so Saturn is starting a fresh journey into Aries along with Neptune. It's like the big daddies of the solar system are all on the move. End of an era. We've had Neptune move, Saturn's following. About endings, getting real about what you need to let go of. And by the time we enter Gemini season, I think we will start having some answers about what that really is and getting real about it. So it took me a lot of digging to get to what I was feeling, but I got there. Very scorpionic, that is, actually. Pincers, scorpion, that's crabs, but sting. They're all kind of a bit. Lobsters, scorpions, crabs, kind of similar. Some live in the water. In fact, scorpions used to live in the water and then became land dwellers, I think. Anyway, I'm talking nonsense now. I mean, it's not nonsense, but like I digress, is my point. And this one, actually, I looked it up. I can't quite remember the vibes. I did get juggler kind of mercurial vibes, but I looked it up in the Anglo-Saxon tarot handbook, which has all of the astrological aspects. And this one is Capricorn, Jupiter in Capricorn. So that expanding things with the juggling, stretching things, making it go round and round, creating like this big universe energy with these two things expanding, almost like it's kind of like you could see it as a rubber band and sending the two discs around the rubber band. And Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Yeah, so Capricorn, massive earth energy, Jupiter, massive expansion energy. So I feel like this is our prosperity and our abundance, and is getting grounded in, and our feminine energy, accepting the messages of where and what needs to end. And I'm just noticing like that it's kind of like a kingdom coming down, and as being like, this kingdom is done. Like the fall of a kingdom. So that's why I'm getting the Saturnian vibes, I think, because it's like rulership, Capricorn, rulership, and structures and disciplines and lineage, quite paternal lineage, coming down. And I'm not talking about wealth of necessarily money. I mean, Capricorn does like wealth of money. But our spiritual knowledge and wealth, because Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and it's very expansive in its wisdom and knowledge, and spirituality as well. Like, they are keen travelers and absorbers of other cultures' knowledge and rich kind of tapestries and backgrounds of wisdom is Sagittarius. So that's a combination of that, Jupiter energy and Capricorn. And then, yeah, all kind of going off in Aries, where Saturn is eventually moving into. I feel we have some Saturnian stuff a go-go. Whilst under and brewing around this Scorpio moon. I have kept the deck split where it wanted to split, just to look what's in the middle. Interesting. Very interesting. So we have that walking away, starting afresh. I feel like that belongs there on top of those 10 swords. And the Emperor. The Emperor is very Mars-led, so very Aries-related. We have the Rams of Aries on the arms of the throne and the top of the throne. And I feel it belongs there, on top of that King of Wands. Like the big daddies, this is the big daddies moving into Aries. Definitely. I want to take that one. Something from the Abyss. Tarot of the Abyss. Let's really dredge it up from the well, shall we? Scorpion style. What I was going to say is Scorpio is very into, before I started bang on about lobsters and stuff, I was going to say that Scorpions are very like big on investigation. Like they really, it's that one, they really scour for knowledge, for information. They really go deep with emotion and exploration of like psychology and just anything that they're kind of fixated on. They are a fixed sign, and they get very fixated and go down these little like rabbit holes and pockets of like almost like obsessive knowledge, and turning over every stone until they have the answers. It can be quite like that, especially if you have anything like Mars and Mercury in like the 8th house, which is ruled by Scorpio, like that very investigative-y energy. Anywho's, so we had the Ace of Pentacles, big tree person, very strong earth energies. Saturn is very earthy, Capricorn is very earthy, and this card here, the 9 of Pentacles, very earthy. We've got lots of earthiness, earth and fire. And obviously that 2 of Pentacles, earthy. We have the Page of Wands, more fire. And we have the 5 of Swords. Quite interesting depiction on that one. Has lots of swords in like a pincushion, and then it might be a butterfly, but I'm kind of getting a fairy in the jar. It kind of looks like a butterfly, but it kind of looks like there's little legs like a fairy at the same time. And he's punching holes for air. in the lid of that jar for that butterfly, but he's keeping it trapped in there. That's interesting that we have these kind of like Gemini season vibes coming up. Gemini is quite butterfly energy. Scorpio, also transformation. Butterflies transform from the cocoon into a butterfly, and they are a symbol of that, but also you have that energy of that flitting around, like a Gemini air sign flitting around. So feeling trapped. The Page of Wands is about, you know, making little fires. She's gathering sticks, and I'm getting like the rubbing the sticks together. Like learning how to start your own little fire, learning how to ignite your spark, finding out what your spark is, maybe rediscovering your spark because you've been feeling trapped. Maybe you've been feeling like, you know, that little creature in the jar that just wants to fly, spread its wings. Geminis are quite curious. You want to transform. You know, you did transform. I'm like, I transformed, and then some little kid put me in a freaking jar and trapped me and just like punched holes for air. That's depressing. That makes me feel very trapped. I am a Gemini. You're desperate to transform and be unleashed and ignite your spark. And this Ace of Pentacles is this desire to branch out from the knowledge, the wisdom that you have been sucking up from the earth bit by bit, that you've been like nourishing yourself with. So I'd say these cards are in the wrong order. I'd say they're like that. Interesting. Let's go really dark. Wouldn't be approaching a Scorpio full moon if we weren't going really dark, you know. I've got the little card thing out the booklet. This is my mini version of the Wild Unknown. I always find it very Scorpio-like. There's two. The Son of Swords and the Four of Wands. That one fell. And the Daughter of Cups. Knowledge coming in quickly, swiftly. We've got the owl, we've got the sword. Clarity and knowledge. And this Four of Wands is like a portal of once we have ignited that spark. There's a portal going to open up. It almost looks like an eye. If you turn it on its side, it's an eye. It's the knowing and the knowledge coming through from that tree. I was talking about sucking up the nurture and the nourishment of the knowledge. That's going to come to light to us with these planetary shifts all going into Aries. And the Daughter of Cups. So I was looking at this one, thinking how it looks like an eye. So symbol of the third eye chakra, I feel that is, and the knowledge and the intuition. So this, when we find that spark, that igniting spark, it's going to unlock. Maybe we need to use our intuition to help find our spark. And the Daughter of Cups is very intuitive. And these cards, these wild and known ones, are largely black and white, but we have this rainbow ripples in the water. And I feel like that's where it's going to allow us to shine our rainbow, reflect, shine it out in the ripples of the water. It travels on the ripples of the water out to others, and it is reflected back onto us. This like magical, good vibe feeling of intuition and love. Gorgeous. So I feel like this is like, this is taking us past the Scorpion new moon, full moon on the 12th, and into this Saturnian shift and into Gemini season. We've got cow again. If you've been watching a lot of my readings, I'm being stalked. We're being stalked by the cow card. It's here again. May the embrace of all that is nurturing you awaken in all you are becoming. Yes. Like I said, sucking up the wisdom. When these planets all shift, it's going to ignite. We're not going to be able to ignore the need to fire our desire, to like re-spark our spiritual self and our nurturing of ourselves and committing back to ourselves and where we truly need to go, where we truly need to grow, how we need to nurture these new beginnings from the wisdom we have been feeling feed up through our roots. There's been some long lessons of spiritual knowledge coming up, and it's time to get real about them and accept them so that we can embrace our true selves, our true desires, and awaken into what we are truly becoming. This Scorpio moon is what we were starting to manifest in on the Taurus new moon at the end of April. Morning dew. It's pretty with the silver birch trees. It's very pure looking. What stillness does the silence of one's steadiness bring? Again, I'm seeing all the eyes on the tree. I always think that still silver birch trees look like they've got eyes, and the knots on the trees. This is what I was kind of saying as well about that Mercury, and what I was saying about not wanting to like declare it all and be fast-paced in our speech or declaring it, but to allow it to sit within us and observe and know it and find that silence, that steadiness of silence, of knowing within ourselves before we go around blurting it all out. What was I about to do? I was about to look what day it is that Mercury moves into. Oh no, my page has got folded in the wind. How annoying. What day it is that Mercury moves into Taurus. It will be that stillness, that more need to be quiet and not blurty. Strangely, my birth Mercury is in Taurus as well. I definitely have to sit on things before I do blurty. The 10th. The 10th? Yes, Mercury into Taurus on the 10th, so literally tomorrow. My goodness me. 'Tis upon us at 1:15 1:15 on the 10th here in the UK. Mercury moves into Taurus. So get ready for your time to go still and absorb. So if you are feeling like blurting anything out, just don't do it yet. Avoid blurting things out around this full moon. Hold on to it. Be patient. You probably will naturally feel like not blurting it anyway, but the tarot really is speaking of that right now, I feel. It's like finding this purity with that dewiness. By holding it steady, I feel like it's going to bring like a wash it clean. Ooh. Earth worship. I've got like 3. Earth worship. Until my body is in your arms, I will worship you, dear mother of mine. Okay, it started kind of sexy. I don't start talking about mums. Yeah, so it's about allowing the earth to embrace us. It's not sexy vibes, sadly, so guys. It's big time nurture vibes. It's being in balance, at one with ourselves, and by finding this purity, this stillness, this steadiness to nurture ourselves and become all the we need to go into this steady silence and sit in our own energy, and then allow the earth to embrace us, embrace the elements, and allow them to embrace us. Then we get wildcat. That means a little bit more. Be still, though. Still says be still. See, told you. Doesn't want us to say anything. Shh. Stop saying Chloe. Stop saying wow. Be still in tune. And be still and in tune. There is something afoot lurking alongside you. It's got some interesting horns on it. So it's like taming your wildness, pacifying it until you're sure what this energy is. Oh, there's one left behind. Don't know if that one fell out or not. I think it did. Fertilizing. The food is not the only thing that nourishes you, dear one. Be mindful of what you feed your soul. So yeah, go into that silence. Don't blab the farm. To purify your energy, your thought process, get clear on it. Embrace yourself. Embrace the nature. Allow it to embrace you. And be still and tune into it. Be aware of your wildness, but don't let it fly until you're sure what it is lurking alongside you. Because be careful what you feed your soul. I think you also need to be careful about who you spend company in at the moment with that something afoot lurking alongside you, and that be mindful of what you feed your soul. So don't let negative energies in. Trust the vibe. Close down anything or anyone that feels sus. If you're not sure on their vibe, withdraw and don't say anything. Put a boundary in and sit in your own energy and trust with that intuition, the eyes of the silver birch. And like I was saying about that Daughter of Cups, when we're in this pure self-loving energy, it's going to dazzle out of us like a rainbow. It's going to spread far and wide. It's going to shine back to us. We don't need to say anything. We just need to feel good within ourselves. So stay away from negative energies. Anyone that is funking with your vibe as well. And that is the reading, guys. Mwah. Have a beautiful rest of your day, weekend, all those lovely things. I hope you have a nice freedom of the weekend, and yeah, that's all from me. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Bye.